This is Future Talk.
Future Talk.
Future Talk with Omnial Saleh and Hani Balkis.
Good afternoon, everyone, and happy Monday. Hope you're all having a blessed afternoon and enjoying your week. It's a very, very hot, sunny Monday right here in the UAE and in the heart of Sharjah. But we are very excited to be here with you today to share with you the latest on what is happening in the tech world, in the UAE and around the world. Lots is happening when it comes to cyber crimes and cyber hackers trying to make the most out of this holy month, because we're going to be talking about some cyber fraudsters who've been using social media platforms to stalk all of their potential victims. Could you be one of them, and how can you protect yourself? Make sure you stay tuned to find out all about that.
Yes, and we're not done just talking about cyber fraudsters just yet, because a mass mail attack has been going on in the UAE, and a warning was issued actually recently, and we're going to be telling you all about that.
Yes, indeed. Coming up on the show as well, we do know that the UAE Hope Probe was actually launched to celebrate the first 50 years of the UAE, the Jubilee year, the Golden Jubilee year. But now there's a website that every single person can go ahead and use to also be part of that 50th year. So you can go ahead and share stories of unique characters that you believe are worth celebrating right here in the UAE. What is this website? Make sure you stay tuned to find out about it.
Yes, and talking about Twitter as well today. Twitter may let you tip people for their great tweets right from their profiles. Now, we've been anticipating about this for the past couple of weeks now, and finally, Twitter is out there and talking about it.
Yes, indeed. But the story I'm most excited about today is to give you a quick guide on how the AirTag is actually used. It is finally available, I think, for pre-order, and I'm hoping that they started deliveries, because I've seen people in the US and the UK already been reviewing it. But how much is it? How much is it worth? And can you get a pack of it all at one discounted price? How is it used? All this and more is going to be coming up in just a few moments. So make sure you keep Pulse 95 locked, because we'll be right back.
Daily digital news. Bits and bytes connect our world.
Cyber fraudsters are using social media to stalk potential victims. Now, security experts are offering advice on how to stay ahead of these crooks. Now, we do know because of the COVID-19 pandemic, a lot of people are working from home. A lot of people are using the internet much more, me being one of them. And cyber criminals are becoming more sophisticated and ruthless than ever, targeting people's private lives and even impersonating friends or even work colleagues to steal money or even secure valuable data.
Yes, indeed. And this is interesting because every movie that we've ever watched about hackers or cyber criminals, the first thing that you would witness is those hackers going through people's social media platforms. And this is exactly what's happening today in real life, because all those criminals are gathering information on who they want to attack first, who do they want to hack next, through people's social media. This is actually allowing them to get all kinds of information on people's daily lives. What kind of websites do they use? What kind of banks do they register with or have credit cards from? So many specialists, cybersecurity specialists, have actually been warning that scammers are using every possible way at their disposal to try and trick all their targets, especially when it comes to using psychological manipulation and deepfake technologies. And we've seen so many scenarios of this, whether it was right here in the UAE or around the world. You'd get people who are making or acting like they're your wives. You remember that story that we talked about over WhatsApp when a man gladly gave his credit card details and credentials over WhatsApp because he heard his wife asking for them, when in reality it was not his wife, it was someone who was impersonating his wife's voice by using the deepfake technologies.
Yes, and this is actually a form of social engineering, and there's another form of social engineering called phishing, which does involve the collection of personal data that is then used against an individual or company. Now, the sharp increase of people working from home during the last 12 months and a rise in e-commerce during the pandemic have actually led to more cyber attacks in the region, as criminals have looked or even took advantage of people's newfound vulnerabilities. And obviously, you need to stay safe online, and we've actually brought in experts from all around the world to tell you guys how to be safe. You guys can check that out on our SoundCloud or Apple Podcast, Future Talk 95, on how to stay safe when you're on the internet. But obviously, social engineering does often see fraudsters taking patient approach to win the trust of people they have targeted. So it's not always just a simple put a hack in your computer.
Yeah.
Sometimes the fraudsters or hackers will get into your comfort zone. They will be patient with you and kind of play the long con.
Absolutely. And sometimes it's not as easy, just like you mentioned, Danny, it's not as easy as asking for your credentials or bank card details. These scams can be so convincing that even people who are well informed, people who have their guard up high, they're also being tricked into sharing all those personal information, because social engineering can go so far. And with the technologies that we see today, it's very hard and difficult to protect yourself from it. But at the end of the day, there are very easy tips and tricks to go around this. If you get emails from names and usernames that you don't usually deal with, don't open the links. Even if you get something from, let's say, Instagram, Twitter, any social media platform, and the link looks a little weird, the handwriting is not professional, the spelling is wrong, there's no way a social media platform will even be sending out emails to you unless it was a redirection from the app on your phone itself. Those are just a few quick tips and tricks, but if you want to catch more detailed ways on how you can keep yourself safe online, you can check that out on our podcasts. Coming up on the show, we're going to be talking about yet another attack, but this time it's about using our mail applications on our phones. There's a warning that's currently being issued, so make sure you keep us on F5 Log to find out all about it.
Daily digital news. Bits and bytes connect our world.
Today's show is very interesting because it's all about hacks and attacks, and that is the sad reality, because these attacks and these cyber criminals have been ongoing for quite some time now, but especially during Ramadan, things tend to peak a little bit more because people are excited for discounts. There are so many competitions going on, whether it was on TV, on the radio. We have one right here on Pulse 95 that we're going to be telling you about in just a few moments. So there are just so many ongoing things that fraudsters and hackers find it a great opportunity to go ahead and make some money out of it. The most recent attack has been taking place right here in the UAE, is a mass mail attack that a lot of citizens in Abu Dhabi specifically, but also in different Emirates, have been struggling with.
Yes, indeed. Now, we do know that a lot of people have been, again, we keep repeating this over and over again because this is the main reason why.
Yeah.
Because of the COVID-19 pandemic, a lot of people have been going online, working from online, studying online, doing everything, and even buying and ordering things online. Now, we do know that Abu Dhabi residents and residents in the UAE have been extremely cautious of suspicious emails and even phone calls to avoid falling victim to online fraud by hackers. Now, according to a recent report from police and banking institutions, many people have actually fallen victim to online fraud operations and even had their money stolen due to a lack of caution in their financial dealings online. The authority also did advise people to keep their operating systems and softwares up to date, as it does help the devices provide better protection and does even enable them to detect and delete viruses that can steal data. Again, ladies and gentlemen, it's pretty simple how to keep yourself safe. Have an antivirus, don't open emails, and don't trust anyone online. Again, even at times, you can't even trust your own husband or wife, because we've talked about it on the show before. How a wife it was not his actual wife, but it was deemed that his wife, and his wife took his credit card number, but it was actually a hacker.
Exactly. And this is exactly why a lot of people have been very worried about checking out online. But in the age of COVID-19, I mean, what else can you do? People were quarantining for a very long time, and even after this, trends have changed. I barely hold cash with me, and I know a lot of people who are the same situation. So whenever you're paying online, whether it was on a website, you need to make sure that the website you're paying through is legitimate. Hopefully, the best way to go about it is just check out on websites where you can have that second level of authentication. They'll send an OTP, but I know this is not always the case. Also, make sure that you always check the source of the emails that you receive. Any incoming calls, make sure that you try and check the code. If, let's say someone is saying that they are your bank, go ahead and Google up that number. If it pops up to be your bank, then okay, all is good. But if it's not, then there's something fishy about it. Also, what type of information do they require? Sometimes you don't need to give out all this information that someone is asking for. So a police officer is not going to call you up and ask you to give your credit card details. They're not going to ask for certain details about your social media platforms, etc. So that's yet another thing to keep in mind. And last but not least, police officers right here in the UAE have also been advising us to not download any attachments from sources that we don't know. So make sure you don't go ahead and do that so that you don't risk infecting your device in the process.
Yes, indeed. Again, ladies and gentlemen, always remember before downloading anything, before trusting anyone or giving them your ID numbers, account numbers, or passwords, whether it's on the phone or email or even on WhatsApp or any other online means of communication, remember and make sure who that person is. And always remember that, again, if it's too good to be true, then it's not true. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be taking a short break, but when we come back, we're talking all about what?
We're talking all about a new website that will help you celebrate the UAE's 50th year.
Check this out. Check this out. Pulse 95.
Celebrating the people in our lives, no matter who they are or what their role is. Every single person you meet, whether it's a friend, a father figure, a motherly figure, they all add value to your life. And it's very important every now and then to, whether it's sending a text message or even telling them in person how much you love them and appreciate them. But the UAE as a whole is doing this to all of its residents because there's a brand new website that will allow us to celebrate those who have been there, helping the UAE grow to reach its 50th Jubilee year. The website is called www.uaeyearof.ae.
Yes, indeed. Now, this initiative has been launched, giving people in the UAE the opportunity to tell the stories of unsung heroes who helped shape the nation over its 50 years. Now, the Early Dreamers project was announced by the UAE's Golden Jubilee Committee in association with the Federal Youth Authority just this week. Now, the first phase does last until June 30th, when the focus will then switch to current and future dreamers. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is a great initiative, and residents are actually urged to interview friends and family who they think would be best suitable for the project, and even upload their story and pictures to the website, which is www.uaeyearof.ae website.
Yes, indeed. From the early dreamers who first helped build this country to the dreamers of today who are working tirelessly, whether it was nurses, doctors, anyone just doing their role, doing their job, putting in their 100%. These are the people that are worth celebrating because they're working tirelessly to help build this country to what we see it today. So all you have to do is, just like Hani mentioned, go ahead and find out people who are in your life. They're working tirelessly. They've helped this country during a very tough pandemic, and they've been putting in their all every single day. All you have to do is to go ahead, take a picture of them, upload that picture on the website, and write down their story. It's very important that we play a part in telling those stories because we're living right here in the UAE. We've witnessed not all of the 50 years, but some people have. And if you haven't, you've at least witnessed a couple of those years. So it's very important that we tell the story of those past 50 years so that we can go ahead and plan the next 50 to be even better and brighter.
Yes, indeed. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I do believe that, again, kind of contributing to this initiative and letting the story come out more now, especially when it does come to expats living right here in the UAE. A lot of us have called the UAE home, and we don't know anywhere else except the UAE. Now, for me, for example, I could go to America, but again, the UAE is home, and it's always going to be home, and I don't see myself going anywhere else. And I do believe that I will be soon maybe one of a success story. Maybe my children will have a success story right here in the UAE, as the UAE does have opportunities for big and small, old and large. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I do want to ask you, though, what is your greatest, or are you like us, Omni and I? We can never go anywhere else except the UAE. UAE is our home, even though we are not locals.
Exactly. And I'm sure the UAE is home to many people tuning into us right now. So if the UAE is home to you, share with us your story. How long have you been living here for? I'm born and bred over here. Hani has moved in, I think, since you were 16?
No, around when I was 13.
13 years old. So it's been a long time that we've been living right here, and we're very lucky and blessed to call this place our home. But you know who I think should be a part of the unsung heroes, and we should celebrate them on this website, UAEyearof.ae. It's all those nurses and health practitioners that were doing the PCR tests and still are. Ever since the pandemic started, they were working tirelessly multiple hours a day. You'd go in, you'd get your PCR test, and you're annoyed at how uncomfortable it is, but they've had to do their job even amidst all the fear and uncertainty that we were all living through. So let us know, who would you celebrate on this website? And make sure you check it out, because it's actually very unique to see all the stories of the people that have been sharing who they think are unsung heroes that have been contributing to the UAE's success.
Riddle me this, riddle me that.
My winning streak has been over. It's over. Yesterday I got the riddle wrong, and I think it was because I was tooting my horn a little bit too much. I got 8 out of 9 days correct.
But I was so happy because it was my first win.
Yeah, and Omnia got hers right.
It was the first win since 9 days?
9 days, yes. Today is day 10 of the riddle.
It took me 9 days to figure it out. But, well, better late than never. And if you're wondering what was yesterday's riddle and what was the answer, we'll just give you a quick recap, since a lot of people have been texting in asking what was yesterday's riddle, one of them being a number ending with 3228. But the riddle is, or was, yesterday: an endless world with open doors holds treasures from all around the world, often expensive and most envied. The type of treasure you cannot fake. What is it? The answer was knowledge.
Yes, and I thought it was a museum. But I guess...
That's okay. They can still trust you because you got, what, 8 out of 9, right?
8 out of 9, right? But it's okay. But today's question for today, day number 10, is: you don't need a doctor and no need for Google to answer this riddle. With logic, how many apples can someone eat on an empty stomach?
It is one of the... It's tricky when you first think about it, but then it's so easy because you can't get it wrong. Honestly, if you want a chance to win 500 dirhams, you need to make the most out of this day, because this is one of the easiest riddles. All you have to do is text in the right answer to 4215. Do it to Salat before 9:30 p.m. and think about it deeply. Please don't Google it, because even if you do, I've tried it, the answer is not right.
Yeah, well,
It'll give you a medical answer.
In the riddle, there's kind of a hint. You don't need a doctor and no need for Google to answer this riddle. With logic, how many apples can someone eat on an empty stomach? Now, we do know the old saying, an apple a day keeps the doctor away.
Yes.
An apple a day keeps the doctor away. Think about it.
Yeah, I swear, sometimes when you were saying those riddles, like my conscious voice in the background.
Yeah, I mean, think about it.
It is true. And if you think about it, you need to maintain that empty stomach. So how can you maintain the empty stomach with how many apples?
But when someone texts us in that saying unlimited apples, because a person is always hungry.
Well...
And I kind of agree with him. At this moment in time right now, I could eat like 90 apples.
Same.
Still be hungry. So, I mean, it's I guess it's the way you look at the world. But again, an apple a day keeps the doctor away.
Let's just, keep thinking about it, and we'll remind you with the riddle once again. But let's move on to talk a little bit about what has been happening with Twitter, because Twitter has been making headlines for quite some time now, and today's story is all about Twitter allowing us to potentially tip people for their great tweets right from their profile. So all you have to do is click a tip button, and it's very similar to what you'd do at a restaurant, let's say, when you tip the waiter or the waitress. But now you're doing it for tweets.
I don't like it.
You don't like it? Why?
I don't like it. I mean, I don't know what Twitter's trying to do. I don't know what Jack Dorsey is thinking about. But again, I mean, it just looks a little bit tacky. Now you're going to have a little blue cash button under someone's at or username, and it's going to say, hey, you can send via Bandcamp, via Cash App, via Patreon, via PayPal, via Venmo. Just, I mean, what do you guys say? Hey, here's a tip for making me laugh at 4 in the morning. Now, obviously, you will see that it's working on a tip jar feature also on Twitter Spaces, which again is dumb. I don't agree with it. I mean, I'm talking into a Twitter space, right?
Yeah.
Having fun, or even I'm talking about, let's say, a convention. Oh, yeah, I like the way you talk, honey. Here's $1. I don't know.
I think the way they're doing it is, you know, when you would be walking in like Italy or one of the European countries and you'd see street performances. And if you like what someone is doing, playing the violin, doing a magic show, you'd go ahead and tip them. So I think what Jack Dorsey's trying to do is the same concept, but on social media platforms. It is interesting because they do want creators to make money out of Twitter. And we do know that when we compare all social media platforms, Twitter is the least likely for you to go ahead and make money out of. So with the tip jar that they're doing on the Twitter Spaces and then the little cash button on the normal profile, every person's Twitter profile, Jack Dorsey's hoping that people can make some money out of it, but they have not formally announced this tipping feature yet, and there is no guarantee that the company will be releasing it publicly. As of right now, they're testing it out. Some profiles have it, others don't, and it is still unclear if there would be any restrictions on who could put a tipping button on their profile. That's another aspect that I had in mind, you know. Not everyone deserves to be tipped for what they say. One of them, if we go back in time, like Donald Trump.
Yeah.
If you're going to tip him for what he says, I mean...
Why would you tip famous people, too? They already got money. What are you tipping them for? I mean, I don't know, man. It doesn't sit right with me. I don't like the whole concept. There's another website just like that does tipping, but it's used for reasons that are just dumb. But again, ladies and gentlemen, we want to know your guys' thoughts. For me, it's a no-go. Right? I'll put a big block in front of all of this. But again, 4215, do a slot or on Instagram at Pulse95 Radio. Let us know your guys' thoughts. Do you think Twitter releasing a tipping, super follow, all this ridiculous stuff to kind of help creators make money is okay or not? Text us in your thoughts. But for me, it's a no. It's a big no. It's a big fat no.
He's made his opinion loud and clear. I don't like it either. I feel like it's just
tacky. It's
very
ruining
tacky.
the platform.
Very.
People, if it gets released, people are gonna complain.
It's interesting because it's hard to place a limit or put any guidelines with this. Who gets the tipping button? Who doesn't? Who gets that super follow and who doesn't? So let us know your thoughts. We're very interested to hear from you as well. Coming up on the show, we're talking about the gadget that has been making headlines the past few days as it has been ready for pre-order, and a lot of people have actually been getting it and trying it out. We're talking all about the AirTag. How does it work? We're going to be giving you all this in just a few moments.
Gadget of the day.
New tech you might want to play with.
Pulse 95.
Let's talk gadgets because this is one of those gadgets that I'm very excited that we finally get to order it right here in the UAE. We're talking all about the Apple AirTag that retails for a price of 129 dirhams. It will finally be available right here in the UAE starting this weekend, the 30th of April. On Friday, you can go ahead and find it at Apple stores and even pre-order it beforehand on their website. But many people are wondering, honey, what is an AirTag?
Yes, now, if you are an avid listener of Future Talk, you probably know what an AirTag is. Well, an AirTag is a small tag that you can hook to your keychain, to your bag, to literally put it in your pocket or even your wallet.
Anything and everything.
Anything and everything. And wherever you go, you can, if you have your phone with you, you can open your Find My app.
Yes.
And the tag will be online and you'll see where your belongings are going or where your keys are if you lost them. So if you're a person that loses things a lot or you just want a little sense of security or safety in your purse, in your baggage when you're traveling, the AirTag is for you. Now, the AirTag has been long awaited, but now we're finally seeing the AirTags come to life.
Yes, indeed. And what's interesting is I actually saw a video on Instagram of someone showcasing how it works. They bought it, they had it on their keychain, and they also had, I think it was either the MacBook or one of the phones with the M1 chip, the new chip, the U1 chip or UI chip. And with this new chip that you find on the latest iPhones and the latest MacBooks, you can even play hot and cold with your AirTag. So not only can you track it with the Find My app on the phone, but when you get closer to the AirTag or the device that has the AirTag on it, it will start giving you either the red color to showcase that you're getting nearer to it, or the blue color to tell you that you're getting further away. So it's like playing hot and cold with your own gadgets. So I thought that was pretty neat. But when it comes to privacy, Apple has introduced a lot of metrics and many different safeguards to make sure that your location data is private and that everything is encrypted. So there's no way that someone is going to be able to hack into your AirTag or hack onto your Find My app on the phone and find out where your belongings are unless it was you and your phone.
Now, other than that hot and cold game, AirTags does have something which Apple calls precision findings, which actually accurately pinpoints the location of an AirTag if it is nearby. The AirTags are powered, just like Omi said, Apple's U1 ultra wideband chips, which then uses an iPhone's accelerometer and gyroscope, among other components, to precisely direct you to an AirTag's location. However, precision finding can only be used on 7 devices on the iPhone 11 and 12 series, just like Omnia said, because of that U1 Ultra band, since they have the U1 chip in them as well. Any lower than these, you'll be missing out on this cool feature. And of course, location and data user are secure, just like Omnia said, meaning no one, not even Apple, can track any information while using the AirTags. Again, these are meant to track things, not people.
Yes, indeed. And I've actually been thinking about what is this AirTag made out of? You know, it's so small, it's so lightweight. It literally looks like, you remember back in high school when people would get these, what do they call the magnetic things or the pins that you'd put on your bag or on your jacket and it made you look all cool. So they look exactly like that. They're small, they're lightweight, and they're made out of stainless steel, but they're also water and dust resistant. Again, it's water resistant, not waterproof, so you can't just go ahead and, you know, put it on something that will be dropped in a body of water. It also has a built-in speaker that can help you locate the AirTag itself and a removable cover that makes it easy for users to go ahead and replace the battery. It's a very cool gadget, to be honest, especially if you're someone who loses their items quite often, or you have some valuable items that you want to always know where they are placed. Let us know, are you excited to be able to finally get them? They're finally a reality and people can go ahead and buy them starting this Friday.
Yes, and they go for 1 pack is 129 dirhams and 4 packs is 439 dirhams. Is it a reasonable price? Yes or no? We also want to know that from you guys. For me, I'll wait for a third party.
For a third party?
Yeah, if I want it, I don't really need it.
I think it would be nice to try out one. I wouldn't immediately go for the 4-pack. I mean, unless I find it helpful or beneficial. But it's interesting. Instead of buying a safe or worrying about putting your items in a safe every time you travel, every time you're in a hotel, it would be nice to just have something that's, you know, have an item that can always track your belongings. But before we end today's show, we just want to give you a quick reminder of your chance to win 500 dirhams. And who knows, people may just go and buy an AirTag with this money. We have a competition, Ramadan Riddle or Ramadan Fawazir, that's going on every single day till the end of Ramadan. And Hani and I have been going through a little bit of a competition on who gets them right. I've been failing.
Yeah, I mean, I guess not more of a competition, friendly banter.
Yes.
You know, I've gotten 8 out of 9 questions right, but today is day number 10. And the question is, you don't need a doctor and no need for Google to answer this riddle. You can answer it with logic. How many apples can someone eat on an empty stomach? And I've been giving you guys the hint.
Yes.
An apple a day keeps the doctor away. Again, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know the answer. Omni doesn't know the answer. No one knows the answer except Bakir Ati and Aisha Namazmi from Evening Karak.
Yes.
So if you want to know the answer, you do need to tune in at 9:30 tonight.
Yes, indeed. Their show goes on from 8 to 10, and that's when you find out what is the right answer, but also who is the lucky winner. 4215 Dur Salat. Keep texting. You never know. You could just be the lucky winner. This is the end of today's show, but you can catch us again tomorrow, same time, same place from 2 to 3 p.m. Until then, we're going to be opening the airways for the only place to be at 3, the halftime show with Omar Al-Duri. He has a packed show for all of you. His Ramadan shows have been definitely on fire. He's been telling you all about how you can take care of your mental health as well as your physical well-being. We want to wish you a blessed iftar and a blessed day, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Yes, indeed.
If you liked this episode of Future Talk, drop a like and subscribe.
Pulse 95.
Be sure to follow us on Instagram for all our daily updates and top stories.